Welcome to the 6th of 9 videos in our course Pro Video Editing with an iPad or iPhone using LumaFusion. In the last video, we got familiarized with the clip editor. We went over the clip editor's different parameters, from how to access the clip editor to how to use it. Plus, we covered the LumaFusion preview function. In this video, we'll cover how to make color adjustments and add a LUT or style. We'll talk about adding effects, demonstrate keying and stabilizing footage, and explore the speed editor. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and that's why we've made a shopping list of the 9 essential things that every beginner filmmaker needs. It's really easy to get. All you have to do is click on the link in the card there or a link in the description, and you can get it today. So here we are again on the iOS homepage, and we're going to be opening up LumaFusion. So let's do that. Now today we're going to be talking about color. What we learned about the clip editor is really going to come into play here. First things first, we need something to work on. I've already picked some clips from Storyblocks and I've downloaded them, so they're in my cached media. I can come over here and check it out. And I just really wanted some shots that are going to have lots of color. So here's the first one that I really like, donuts. And I'm going to double tap that and bring it into the timeline here. Scroll it a little bit. Now, if say we wanted to change the color or do a look or well, all sorts of things, we could do that in the clip editor with the color section. And I'm going to double tap on it and open up the clip editor. So this is the same controls. You can see fit, crop, size, position, blending, but there's more to it. There are other controls. If you look down on the bottom of the screen, you can see this one right here that has a couple papers and a little asterisk on it. Let's tap on that. And that brings up our color presets and all of our color functions. So right off the bat, I can just go and, do some real simple things by just choosing some of their presets, and some are pretty cool. Maybe some of them aren't so cool, but that's the way with color. Like that one doesn't work very good, but like that one looks kind of neat. But we're going to go back to the original. We have here all of the color controls that you would have right at your fingertips, from levels, brightness, contrast, saturation, and onward. And we can adjust those, separately or not. I'm going to undo that. Or I can go up and check out the presets and choose from there. Now next, there are user LUTs. These are definitely more like look LUTs, but let's take a look at what they do. So we can see that. That's pretty rich. This one's really red. Let's see here. That's a little blown out. I don't love that. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Just keeps the red, and it really makes a big change in how it all looks, right? From that to that to that. That looks like a very different donut. Ooh, that looks like real gross. So what we can do is I can turn on and off that section. If I had made some corrections on the original, I could do that as well. Next, I could go over to the styles, and there's a lot of other ones. The X-ray, isn't that interesting? It looks very different. Vignette, maybe that's something you'd use. But see, I probably want to turn off the X-ray. I can turn that on. You can see you can turn all these on and off. I can change the intensity and the radius. Next, you can adjust the blurs by tapping on the little drop here. And there's lots of different options. So if I tap on this blur here, you then can control the amount of blur you have, and more or less, depending on what you're doing, will be helpful. Now let's get rid of all of these, because really they're just us playing around. And let's move on to the distortions. This is really interesting. Let's see what a mosaic or a kaleidoscope of this looks like. And you can see there, it looks pretty neat. And you can scrub through it, and it looks pretty crazy. And you could change it to something else or some other way. And it's really interesting. This is coming from that donut, but it is. So no matter what your adjustments are, you can find and change those colors here. It's super powerful. And sometimes all you need is a little, and we have that. But if you need to make big adjustments, it also has that as well. Now, next up is going to be keying. Let me set that up a little bit. Let's go back to our project here, and I'm going to get rid of this clip, and I'm going to put a background that I want to have some green screen of a lady dancing in front of it. So I'm going to double tap on that, and it's going to bring up the clip here. And then I'm going to go to my green screen shot. I'm going to tap and hold and bring that down, and I'm going to put that over the top. Now I'm going to trim it a little bit just so it's right the same length. You can see she does a little dance here. Now, there's quite a bit of shadows in here. She's got quite a bit of details that could be somewhat difficult to key. Let's see how easy or difficult it could be. So we're going to go back into the clip editor. I'm going to double tap. And now I can go up to the color and effects tab over on the far right. That is this little keyhole. And if I tap on that, you can see that there are a bunch of options there. But let's just see what this green screen key, this is exactly how it is. I've not changed any adjustments. I tap on that, and that is a pretty good key, if you ask me, as far as just dropping something in here. Now, does she look like she's dancing in the street? No, she looks like she's kind of a big person here. The shadows are probably, you know, not doing her any favor. So what we can do is, one, we can change, if we want to change the edges or the amount of range that the key is having, even the erosion distance here, or even the hue range, to get that key just exactly the way you want it. But next, the cool thing is if you want to really make that fit inside your scene, I can go back to and change her size. So let's do that. And I'm going to shrink her down a little bit, and I'm going to put her a little bit off to a side there. And maybe if we watch that back, it looks a little bit more like she's actually there. And we could do a whole lot of things to really disguise that, but keying is really not difficult in LumaFusion. Now let's get out of here and let's take a look at the last two things, which is the lock and load stabilizer and the speed editor. So I'm going to get out of the clip editor here. Now I don't know what I'm going to use here for showing the stabilized footage. So let's go back to story blocks and go to footage, and I'm going to search for shaky. See what we come up with. Let's watch this clip back. This looks like it's relatively smooth, but maybe it could be even smoother. Let's take a look and see what we can do. So I'm going to double tap that and bring it into my timeline. While we're doing that, I'm going to get rid of these other clips because they were there just for demonstration. And what we're going to do is now double tap and bring up the clip editor. To use the lock and load stabilizer, you just go down to the bottom screen. Now we're in color and effects right now, but if we go right next to it with these little pages with the little action corners, tap on that, and now it's going to bring in the controls for the stabilizer. So let's turn on lock and load, and it's working on it. It's saying it's active now. Say, okay, that was really fast. So let's see what it looks like now. It's pretty stabilized. So here it is before, without the lock and load stabilization on. Now let's watch it with it on. And I'm going to turn up the strength all the way to 1. That's pretty good just on its own. And if I wanted to go in and change the parameters of any of this, I can do that and change any of the corrections there so I can have it stronger or less. But it's a really quick way to stabilize your footage, and it's right there, real easy. So now once it's stabilized, I can just go back into the timeline, and now it's stabilized in there for me. Last up is the speed editor. So I want to look for some more footage in story blocks. So I'm going to tap here, and I'm going to write slow-mo. Now we should have some pretty cool shots like this one, which I saw the other day. Now maybe we want to do some time remapping on this. So let's do that. So I'm going to double tap on that, bring it into the timeline. I'm going to get rid of this other clip by deleting it. As that's loading in, we're going to go back to the clip editor. And so I'm going to double tap. And now I'm going to go one step over to the speed editor. Now what I can do here is adjust the speed in any way I want. So if I want to slow it down even more, I can do that. Or if I want to make it faster again. So this is probably the original speed. Let's go back to the beginning here. That feels pretty normal, doesn't it? Now if I want to go to 2 times the speed, it's still slow motion, but it's a little bit faster. And say I want to go a lot slower. And that's slowed down footage already. That's very impressive. And the cool thing is say you are shooting something and you're trying to slow it down. When you slow down audio, it sounds different. It'll get lower if you're slowing it down. If you speed it up, it gets higher pitched, like the Chipmunks TV show. So if we tap on this little meter here, it would keep the audio the same pitch, even though it might slow it down so it doesn't sound strange. In the next video, we'll go over why a good video with poor audio is not a good video. We'll cover everything you need to know about controlling LumaFusion's audio functions. Take this information and challenge yourself to use it today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to get your shopping list of the 9 essential things every filmmaker needs, link in the card or in the description.